Have you ever wished you could just see what's going on inside someone's head when they're learning something new? Well, today, we're diving into some incredible research that does almost exactly that. It's about using AI to create a literal map of a student's mind, showing not just what they know, but how all those ideas are connected. It's pretty cool stuff.
So, let's start with a big question. What does it really mean to understand something? Is it just being able to list off a bunch of facts you've memorized, or is there something more to it, something deeper going on?
Okay, look at it this way. On the left, you've got a few scattered dots, right? Just isolated facts. But on the right, you see a web, a network of connected ideas. Now, which one feels like real deep understanding? It's the one on the right, for sure. The real magic of learning happens in those connections.
And that's really the core idea we're exploring. True knowledge isn't just a collection of data points. It's about building a rich web of relationships between them. But that brings up a really tricky problem. How on earth do you even begin to measure that? This is where a team of researchers from the University of Illinois got really creative. Their goal was to take the messy, live, in-the-moment thought process of a student and somehow turn it into a clean, structured map of their knowledge.
And believe me, this is a huge challenge, because when we're learning, our thoughts are not neat and tidy. They're all over the place. They're verbal, we jump around. So the question is, how do you find the hidden structure inside all of that mental chaos?
Well, they started with this really cool technique called the Think Aloud method. For this study, they had 77 students read a chapter from a biology textbook. The only instruction was to just say everything, and I mean everything, they were thinking out loud as they studied. What they got was this raw, unfiltered stream of consciousness that gave them a direct window into the learning process as it happened.
Now, here's where the AI comes in and does something really clever. It listens to what a student says, and it breaks it down. So a sentence like, "When tissue is damaged, the body responds with inflammation," isn't just one idea. No, the AI deconstructs it into these simple, connected units called triples. It's basically subject, action, object. So you get these little building blocks like injury damages tissue and the body responds with inflammation. These are the Lego bricks for our knowledge map.
And this simple process allows them to build a visual knowledge map for every single student. It's a three-step dance. The AI listens, it pulls out all those little concept and connection triples, and then it stitches them all together into what's called a semantic network, which is just a fancy way of saying a map that shows what a student understands and how they connect the dots.
But, okay, how do you know if a student's map is any good? You need an answer key, right? Something to compare it to. So the researchers made this, a gold standard map. Experts went through the textbook and meticulously built the perfect, ideal knowledge network that a student would have if they understood everything flawlessly. This was their benchmark.
All right, now for the fun part. The researchers didn't just use one kind of AI. Instead, they set up a sort of competition, a showdown to see which type of AI was actually the best at building these maps. You could call it the Great AI Bake-Off.
So, in one corner, you have the specialized AI. Think of these models like Luke as highly trained surgeons. They're designed to do one specific thing with incredible precision, find relationships in text. And in the other corner, you have the generalist AI, models like Llama and GPT. These are the creative Swiss Army knife powerhouses behind things like ChatGPT.
So the first, most obvious question you'd ask is, which one is more accurate? I mean, which AI is just plain better at correctly identifying those little subject-verb-object triples from the student's thoughts?
Well, the results here were not even close. It was a complete blowout. On a scale from 0 to 1 for accuracy, the specialist AI, Luke, scored a near-perfect 0.99. The generalist AI, Llama, was just okay. And when it came to pulling out the full triple, the specialist was pretty good, while the generalist was, let's just say, its score was very low.
So the specialized AI completely crushed it on accuracy. It's the most precise tool for the job, hands down. Case closed, right? Move on? Well, not so fast.
Because when the researchers started digging a little deeper, they stumbled upon something completely unexpected. Something that kind of flips our whole idea of what a good AI really is, especially in education. So first, they confirmed something really important. This quote here basically says that the number of connections, the edges, in a student's knowledge map was a fantastic predictor of how well they do on the final test. Long story short, more connections equal better scores. That part made sense.
And this changes everything.
All of a sudden, the most important question isn't which AI is more accurate. The real question, the one that actually matters, is this: which AI built the maps that were better at predicting a student's final test score?
And what they found was this amazing paradox. The super accurate, hyper-precise, specialized AI, it built maps that were actually less predictive of how well a student learned. But the less accurate, generalist AI, the one that technically made more mistakes, it created the maps that were more predictive of the final test scores. I mean, how is that even possible?
Well, here's what the researchers think happened. The specialist AI was maybe too literal. It created very precise but also very narrow, sparse maps. The generalist AI, on the other hand, was a bit more creative. It built broader, more expansive maps. It might have gotten some of the tiny details wrong, but it did a much better job of capturing the big picture of the student's thinking. And that big picture turned out to be a better signal of real understanding.
So what does all of this mean for the future of learning? This surprising discovery really suggests we need to rethink what we're even asking our AI tools to do in the first place.
The single biggest lesson here is that for messy human things like learning, traditional technical accuracy isn't the whole story. Not even close. The goal isn't just to be perfectly correct. It's to create a tool that actually reflects the complex reality of what we care about, which in this case is genuine student understanding.
And this is why it all matters so much. Just imagine a tool that could give you, the student, a real-time map of your own understanding while you study, showing you exactly where the connections are strong and where they're weak. Or think about a teacher being able to see a knowledge map for every single student, instantly spotting who's struggling and where their conceptual gaps are. This is the path to truly personalized learning for everyone.
Which leaves us with one last really big question to chew on. As this kind of technology improves, we're not just talking about a fancier way to grade homework. We're talking about an AI that can genuinely visualize and understand the very structure of how you learn. Could that become the ultimate personal tutor? It's a pretty exciting thought.